progression.
You know, again, we can't be alarmists, but we have to be very sort of tough-minded about what potential problems exist there. You know, one could suggest that with all these good things happening in Spider and the self-correcting logics, had suddenly the government of Greece announced that it was suspending all of its payments, that those things would have been, I think, might not have been sufficient. So the point I think we have to look at also is what are the standby arrangements that if you can't get this right, that if the circuit breakers don't kick in correctly, what are those standby arrangements? And I would dare say, will those arrangements be in place in the future? Well, that's Schapiro, and then I'll ask Chairman Gensler.
Senator, we do have in existence and have since the 1987 crash. I guess it took about a year to put these circuit breakers in place, but there are existing now market-wide circuit breakers. They've actually only been triggered, I think, once in the last 20-plus years that they've been in place. So if the market goes down 10% before 2 o'clock, the Dow, and it's based on the Dow, excuse me, before 2 o'clock, it's halted for an hour. Between 2 o'clock and 2:30, it's halted for 30 minutes and so forth. And there are different lengths of halt at a 10% decline in the Dow, a 20% decline in the Dow, and a 30% decline in the Dow. So, and at a 30% decline in the Dow, the market shuts for the rest of the day. So there is that ultimate fallback we have in the market-wide circuit breakers. They having rarely ever been triggered, it's a pretty strong signal of big problems if they are triggered, and that's the reason we want to recalibrate those.
Right, but what I presume that does is give you time to act.
Absolutely.
What actions can you take, not just the SEC, the CFTC, but federal regulatory authorities?
Well, I think the market participants have the opportunity to try to gather liquidity into the market, to find where there might be buyers, to pull people to consolidate that interest in buying those securities when they reopen the stock in a much more orderly way. It's really about giving the markets a timeout, human beings an opportunity to turn off the algorithms, change the algorithms, do whatever is necessary with respect to all of the automated trading programs, and then to do what market makers and specialists have traditionally done, which is to build interest in the market. And you're confident that the market makers, given that time and circumstances like that, can get it right without any assistance? You know, at the end of the day, the markets are going to find their natural level, and if the news is dire enough and drastic enough that, you know, the best we can hope for then, I think, is just an orderly decline coming off of the new single stock circuit breakers and the market-wide circuit. Chairman Gensler, and then I'm going to recognize Senator Schumer.
I'd associate myself with Chairman Schapiro. I think the market-wide circuit breakers, it's called intermarket circuit breakers, are set up after the 1987 events, which have been triggered once. We're going to take a close look. We're going to use this advisory panel to look at. But as Chair Schapiro has said, market participants will then have time, whether it's 30 minutes or if it was a severe drop right now, the markets are closed for the rest of the day. It's overnight, for information to come into the market, for humans to be there. A lot of these algorithms, just because it's algorithm, don't think smart. A lot of the algorithms are very just rote, even dumb. I mean, they just, you know, do what they've been programmed to do repeatedly. And so giving the 30-minute pause in the intermarket circuit breaker, or even overnight if it's a 30% decline, for instance, today, gives humans a chance and information to come in. If it's overnight, it even gives the whole fourth estate, the news media, to comment. And so there's a lot of flood of information, but I agree, ultimately, you know, markets will find their way.
Well, unfortunately, I think when it comes to the media, the headlines will be markets crash, close, may not open, which might be a self-affecting prophecy, an unfortunate one. But anyway, Senator Schumer?